My name is Robert Shahan. I'm the developer of GraphPad, and today I'm going to talk about how I actually set up configuration files for companies. And I'm going to start with basically what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at my desktop, and I'm running Xcode, and I'm actually running GraphPad in the simulator. And to start off with, I want to show how these forms work. So, for example, if I sent someone a setup, and in this case, I'm going to look at something I sent for a foundation company, Due West. They would see their configuration in the list of document types that they have, picking on new, and they would basically go in, they'd be able to type in, for example, the form names. Excuse me, I'll type in my name real quick. They could tab between the fields, and any data that they typed in the first page that had a corresponding field in the second page, it would automatically copy over. So for example, if I go to the second page, this has fields as well, and any data would be copied over between the two. Now, all of these fields actually have names. So this version of GraphPad that I'm running is actually my developer version, and it has some additional features. And one of the features is to be able to turn on the field names. So we can actually see the names of the fields that would be used for integrating with the backend system. And the way I look at integration, or the way I would propose integrating this for some customers, is to have a map view. And so in this case, we've got a map view. It's got appointments for a particular salesman. If they open one of these appointments, what it does is it goes out to the service and it downloads all that information for that particular customer. And now when they open a form, it's going to pre-populate it. And so not all these fields are completely synced up. So I still have the field names turned on. But for example, it copied down the customer name, the city, and you can see those fields being populated over here. With the full integration, obviously I'd integrate all these fields, but this is just an example form I'm working with. So now the point of this presentation is actually to show how these are being set up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that template that I created for Due West. And it's this version 6, and so I went through multiple iterations. And I'll go into settings, and what I'll do is I'll turn this into template mode. Now actually, hang on one second. Before I do that, in GraphPad, the way a user creates a field is they just touch and drag on the screen, and it creates a field that they can type a value in. So I'll just type in my name real quick. Okay. And now the user can actually move that field around to wherever they want it to be. But we'll notice that the template fields that I create, they don't have that handle to move these. They're fixed in place. I actually use the same application to create these fixed fields. I just output them in a different format so that they show up inside the application as a fixed field to the user. And so I would lay out all these fields where they needed to be. And then all I would do is go into this new feature, change this to editing a template. It would convert all those fields over into templates, fixed fields, and then look at the properties. And so, for example, if we click on this one, this is the default text that goes into that field. This is a type. The 0 is a label. If I change that to a 2, it would be a form field, so that the user could type the value in. These are the pixel locations. This is the width, the height. Sequence, it would be the tab order that shows up, if it's associated with a list of values, if it's mirrored, automatically copied to another field, etc. And for example, for integration purposes, I'll turn on the field names, and I'll click on this field over here and look at the properties. And we'll see I can actually, this is where I would actually set that field name. So if I wanted to change that to phone 2 or something like that, or just customer work, I would just save that. And to create this in the format that I would then export to the user, I would just say save as a template file. And in this case, I've got the template file opened up over here. And so that would put that as a document. I would have a document ID associated with it. I would have the name as it's going to appear to the user in their list of documents. I have various other parameters that get set across. And then I have the page information, right? So this is the size of the page. These are all the text fields. These are their values. And this is basically just a pipe delimited string with various different tabs in there to actually designate things that might have special characters in it, etc. But we can see this is the field name, and that's the field, that's the name of the data field that would be used for integration with other apps and other pages. So if on the first page I have a customer name, I typed it in. If on the second page I reuse that field, it would automatically copy it to the second page. Here we can actually see this top of the form is actually an image. I copied it from the PDF that Due West sent me, turned it into a PNG file, and then saved it with the document. And the image name is just this Due West drawing top. And this is the location and the size of that particular image. And we have our multiple pages. And then at the bottom, we actually have a calculation. And what this is doing is it's using a math parser. Should take the marbles out of my mouth. A math parser, and we can actually see the equation. So we have the cost 1, which is the field value, and we'll look on the second page and we'll see cost 1, cost 2, cost 3, cost 4. We just add those field values, the values associated with those fields together, and then we have an output. And this math parser can do sine, cosine, addition, subtraction. It's a full math parser that I just use within this application. And that's essentially how this product works. So this defines how I actually set this up. The reason why this isn't available to the public is primarily because there's a lot of work that still needs to go into this interface. I don't think that this interface even belongs on the iPad. I think that defining a form of this nature really should be done on a desktop system as opposed to the iPad itself. And all of this, all the Windows and stuff like that, they don't work the same on iOS on the iPad as they do in Mac OS X. So there's a lot of rework that would go into actually turning this into a product. And I just, at this point, don't see a market for it. So that shows how the templates are created. Likewise, within the library, typically they want to have their symbols associated with it. The tool itself is used to create these symbol libraries. And for example, this is an image. And again, it would just be putting out the image file, all the parameters associated with that. Most of this is available to the user, but they can't distribute these between them. But this would then be wrapped up into a file that GraphPad is set to recognize the MIME type and then actually load all this data in there. So I could have not only the forms, I could have the symbols, I could have the calculations. It would go out as a single file, which when the user opened that file in GraphPad, it would populate all that information, and they would automatically see not only their symbol libraries, it'd see any symbol libraries they had over here, but in their documents, they'd have their document types, etc., along with the calculations. And that's how GraphPad works, and that is my presentation. Thank you very much.